bird or a plane or what is that?
Bring them to Texas.
No, but I mean, like.
Yeah, show her some of your stuff.
Everett, sir, Ms. Richter was concerned about the noise in that breaker box last month. Did that get checked upon? Was there a bird in there once again?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't
Sent
wax.
the bird south for the winter and he's happy now. And so what can we do that to avoid that? Put a screen somewhere or?
We put something over the hole that goes up in the bottom.
Yeah. And the
We put
problem's
something
cured
over so they
for,
can't get in it.
it's cured for the moment. Okay, Ms. Richter will be pleased to learn that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. We will be in order, please. The City Commission for regularly scheduled March meeting on the 11th. And who is here? Ms. Richter, are you here?
Here.
Ms. Suler, are you here?
Here.
Mr. Kern, are you here?
Kern or Kern?
One of those. Are you singular or plural? I've lived by you for 4 years and I still would. You're plural? Okay, Mr. Kern, are you here? And Ms. Bryant, are you here? I have heard some reports that Mr. Zonker might be delayed a little bit, but that's, we'll proceed without it. You have before you the proposed agenda. Is there any question or discussion about that?
On unfinished business, I'd like to add the lagoon
And where
sludge.
is that?
On unfinished business,
Okay.
I'd like to discuss the lagoon.
And that item was?
Unfinished business.
Okay. Thank you. Is there approval of the agenda? It gets quiet in here sometimes.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Aye.
We have approval of the agenda, thank you. You have before you the minutes from 2 meetings. We had a special meeting on February the 15th. And then before that, we had a regular scheduled meeting on, well, a few days before that, we had a scheduled meeting on the 12th. Take a look at those minutes, please.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the 2 past meetings.
Both of them?
Yes.
Both of them?
And then you think those have to be separate?
I thought so.
One, I guess.
Generally do each one separate, I think it is, yeah.
Okay, I make the motion to approve the special meeting minutes.
From the 15th only. Is there a motion, is there a second to that?
Second.
We have a second.
Aye.
Okay, the motion is carried for the, now did we also do the 12th?
Yes.
Have we done the 12th? Did I miss it?
Nope. You didn't miss
Would
it.
you like to move to approve the minutes of the 12th?
Yes, I move that we approve the minutes of the 12th.
Second.
May I have a second?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have approval of the minutes from the 12th? Thank you. Mr. Hurst, I'm going to give you a call right now. We have a guest with us this evening who I will mention and allow him to speak briefly, and he might want to get home and get to dinner, I don't know. Ron Hurst is the county commissioner in Reno County from the 5th district. We now have 5 commissioner districts, and Mr. Hurst is the commissioner from the 5th district. So,
Second
Mr. Hurst,
district.
if you have a
Your
couple
district,
comments
second-
for us,
second district.
We are in the 5th district, and you are our commissioner in this area. So I will take him out of order and sequence. We will ask Mr. Hurst for it.
He's not on there.
I'm sorry?
He's not on there.
He's gonna be on there, I'm gonna allow him to speak, under guest comments.
Okay, Mayor, Council, Counselor, and Clerk, thank you for the opportunity to come out here and speak just a minute. One of the things I wanted to comment about was sometime after the middle of April to the first part of May, we plan on having a recall up of the mayor's forum that we used to have. Haven't had it for about a year, and so we plan on having a mayor's forum sometime. I don't know the location or when, but it'll probably be like from 6 or 6:30 to 8, something like that. Gives an opportunity for the mayors of all the communities to get together to talk about any problems, and then maybe some of them have had the same problems and can solve them. It's also a chance for us. I think we want to put on the agenda the NRP, Neighborhood Revitalization Plan, that we will be looking at for county-wide. And we're trying to work that with some of the communities to where they can assist and be in on that plan also, and we kind of make it uniform, basically, around the county and for the communities. The communities are, of course, will make their own decision whether they want to do that or not. But it's a pretty good program. I think it could have an opportunity to enhance, and it will not lose any tax dollars. It's on the improvements on that property above a certain amount. And that's the way the NRP works. I think there's a lot of communities around here that may not want their whole city, the whole town to be involved in an NRP, but they can designate some areas that would qualify, that they think would qualify. But that's kind of what we're working on with regard to that, and we can come up with some kind of a workout on that that will benefit the city, the county, and the whole, everybody involved. And it'll be more or less uniform. And so the mayor's forum and the NRP will be coming up here sometimes, and a lot of times a clerk or someone else from a council is welcome to attend. So we found it very useful years ago too. So that's the other thing I'd like to talk about a little bit is I don't know where you are at countywide with the ARPA money that was designated through Interfaith Housing and SCED to improve housing quality within a community. One of the things that we wanted done with ARPA funds was that a certain amount was dedicated to each rural community and every community in Reno County. And so there's a certain amount of money for Turon. And if you haven't started on that, it'd be a pretty good time to get a hold of Interfaith Housing to have them come out again, or maybe you guys could do a kind of a housing survey yourselves and get some people involved in that opportunity. We're working with the city of Hutchinson to do a housing study for the county also. And that would involve an opportunity to do some MIH, immediate moderate income housing, as well as some ability for some areas if they want to do some division, some developments, the RHIP program. And they're also available in this would be the something that could be very useful is FSA has a program, USDA, for different interest rate programs with construction. that have come about. And I just wanted to reiterate and touch on that interfaith housing SCED program for housing improvements. And
Does SCED have information about interfaith housing?
they work together.
They work together?
Yes.
Contact one, you get both of them.
Yep.
You can find both of them.
Yeah, because SCED does some things and does some of the inspections and stuff to qualify for some of the housing
SCED
programs.
is South Central
South Central.
Kansas
Economic
Housing
Development
something
District,
like
yeah.
that.
And it's a 13 county area wide that the counties belong to and pay funds in, so let's use them. It's the same way they offer, and you can get a hold of SCED housing too, out of Bel Air. If you need any help getting a hold of them, you let me know. We can make that contact for you and make sure you get heard, okay? And I think that's primarily it. We may be coming up here, depending upon which direction the commission goes yet, I can't say. But we may be coming out here and trying to do some meetings later on with some projects of thought that we want your input on, the residents' input, not only from the city, but also from the farming area and the outlying areas and rural. And we just briefly talked about that this morning with the county administrator did. And that would be an opportunity what we want to look at regarding a countywide NRP and what that might involve. So we were kind of talking today about where to have it. And I know that we could come to each community. We couldn't get all commissioners that many times out there for 13, but maybe we could do it, say, somewhere out in this area, okay? Whether it's Fairfield High School or whatever's convenient, I'd like to hear from you, and I think that's part of the things we can talk about at the mayor's forum. Do you have any questions for me?
There's a rumor going around there might be a new fire station in our future.
Yes, sir.
What is the latest information on that?
The latest information that I have is it's in the planning stages on a building, okay?
And the location has been spotted and
Already
purchased or whatever needs to be done?
purchased, donated, whatever,
Yeah,
okay?
okay. What becomes of existing fire stations? Are those buildings?
That I
sold to-
cannot tell you, whether they use for fire department storage or not, I can't tell you. I do not know, I haven't heard that. But that's on the agenda.
Any questions for Mr. Hurst, County Commissioner from this district?
No, but I appreciate him coming out because I had some questions about community revitalization, so.
The fire
I'm glad you
station?
came- No, the revitalization program.
Revitalization,
So,
yeah.
appreciate you coming out, hopefully get some good information on that.
In the conversations I've had with Rice County, Stacy up there, their economic development person, as well as our counselor, also is counselor for Martin County. And they have it, Pratt has had it for a long time, several other counties have had it when it first came out. And I think we could qualify for that countywide because of population drop and some other things. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Hurst?
All right, thank you.
Thank you
you.
for coming out and visiting us. We need a lot of help.
Yeah. Holler if you need anything, okay?
All right.
I
Thanks
think,
for all you do.
I think there's a
Thank
couple
you.
of them on here know how to get a hold of me anyway.
He knows how to find me. I know he does.
So go and do yourself.
You have a good
Question,
evening.
any questions from the audience for Mr. Hurst, by the way?
Well, I know they did a lot of painting last year, towards the fall. Are they gonna redo that?
Yeah, and it's that, there's a weatherization program that SCED has that is really good. And they come out and do a survey of the houses, whichever house it's in, all the houses they're interested in, and have a program for that. It's based on income, but the weatherization is another good program.
I hope we get better notice, because there were several people that didn't hear about it until it was too late, so.
Well, it's not too late.
Okay, I'll let them know, thank you.
That money has to be spent by the end of 2026.
Oh, we can do it in
The
Turon.
money has to be allocated at the end of this year,
You can
2024.
get that for your house.
So, urgency's a little bit encompassing, but to get that funds allocated by the end of 2024, and then they have to spend it by the end of 2026.
Great, thank you.
And that's weatherization projects as well?
No, the weatherization could go on.
Okay, now we tend to think of that as the fall approaches, we start to think, we probably ought to be thinking about that in the summertime to get the process started, so we are in a position to do the weatherization or have it in place before cold weather comes.
And we can the skid can come out and, because weatherization's primarily a skid program, and they cover about 40 of the 105 counties.
Yeah, and it's a slow process because I applied last year. They got back to me and I hadn't heard from them since.
Regarding,
Winterization.
Winterization, because I've got no furnace at my house. I heated with a pellet stove all winter, and boy, that was expensive.
well, that's, if you got a hold of skid directly,
Mm-hmm.
You might want to contact them.
Applied online. They contacted me, said that something with the online applications were not working. Mailed me a form, mailed it back. They contacted me once, and that's all I heard from them.
okay, well, I will look into that. Your name?
James
James,
Knoll, Knoll.
K-N-O-L-L, okay, James, I'll, get out there, I'll write that down, and we'll investigate, okay?
Okay. Yeah, because unfortunately, the house I bought for my parents, my sister didn't take care of it, and the furnace was the first thing to go.
Well, that's something you also want to call interfaith housing too, okay?
Okay, well, go enjoy your supper, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
You bet, thank you.
Get your hat.
Here's your hat. Your hat, yeah, you
Better
might,
get my sombrero.
you might want that.
Next on the agenda will be taking a look at the bills, I'm looking at the bills, and we should have those in front of you. Any questions or discussions on 3 pages worth of bills? 1, 2, 3. Any discussion about bills? Mr. Higdon, sir, is a bill from the Mid-America Research Chemical Company for $348 for water testing. That sounds like a lot of money for water testing.
Package for the lagoons.
What all does that involve?
Package for the lagoons we put in.
Okay. That's not just a standard test that you do every so often.
No.
That was
It's a package we put in the
Equipment.
lagoons every month.
okay. Thank you.
So this UniFirst, this is a weekly bill for $83?
At what point?
UniFirst,
Is it weekly?
I mean, there's 5 of them right there.
There's 6 of them there.
Is that weekly? That'd be over $4,000 a year. Is that weekly? Have we established that it is weekly?
It's $500 a month. Oh.
That's the laundry, the mop stuff, and then all the rugs in the building.
As
Your
far as the
fancy
mops go, those things are,
Did your fancy jacket come from there?
Mm-hmm.
we could probably stop those.
I'm not hearing you, I'm sorry.
As far as the mops go, what they bring are like, they're not cotton mops, and they do not mop very well, they leave lots of streaks and things. I don't think we need to keep getting those weekly. I mean, we have a pile of them now.
Okay.
If we wanted to maybe
Is it possible to reduce the
cut
order?
that back, or get a different type, maybe? That just seems like a lot of money every week.
Is it your direction to reduce the order?
Well, I mean, maybe we
standing
could,
order?
maybe we could look into it to see if we could either get them once a month instead of every week. I don't know if are they bringing them every week? I don't think they are, but the ones they're bringing are just, they're not very good quality.
I only see the rugs and jackets. I don't know when they bring the mops and other stuff.
Can you check on that to
Yeah,
see?
I have it written down here.
Okay, thank you. If that would save a little bit every week, that would help.
You change all the rugs every week? I suppose they need to be.
I don't know, do they change them every week?
Mhm.
Do they?
And then we've been going out and watching them as they change them to make sure that the rugs are all flat like this one is.
Mhm.
We don't have anyone tripping over the bunched up rugs.
Yeah, because they're very lightweight, they do not lay down very well.
That was one thing the safety officer asked us to keep an eye on with them.
Thank you.
Further questions, concerns?
I'm making a motion, we approve the bills.
A motion to pay the bills. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Aye.
Aye.
I think it passed.
Was that three?
Sue, did you vote on that issue?
I did.
One way or another?
I did.
Yes, you did. I think we have all 4 of them. It's a miracle. All right, next item, mayor and pool management interviews. What is your standard operating procedures with regard to pool management? Do we, would there be an interest in going to executive session on this? Or we have one applicant and only one who has been working with us before, so.
It would be,
Is that appropriate?
executive session for non-elected personnel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I guess we're receptive to the motion of a executive session if someone is so interested.
Make a motion, we go to executive session for non-elect personnel, for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes with council, mayor,
Question?
and attorney.
No, I just was wondering if I gave you that.
Okay, and the applicants will get called in.
Second.
We had a second and a vote? Okay.
Aye.
We will adjourn to executive session.
I
After all the other outfits.
Yes. Okay.
Gino was asking you about the wells last meeting. The water wells and the depths.
Let's face it,
Well, a friend of my wife's came out last fall, was sitting in the backyard in a chair, right. We were home, or gone, and she was looking at the chickens. Anyway, the leg of the chair, long story short, I thought, well, whenever all we look at it, spread it out.
I probably want an arm and a leg.
She stuck her fat ass right down through that, into that well casing. It's 8 inches inside diameter.
I mean, I can't say much. I have a Verizon phone.
And it looks like about 4-foot sections. And I measured down to 22 feet, 4 inches.
But they're running off Verizon towers.
Clay pipe, surely not a water well. I just can't imagine that with the water going through it. But there was dirt in the bottom, which, who knows how old it is. And it was kind of moist, but it wasn't wet. I thought, well, I've got my surface casing.
You didn't notice anything trying to look down there kicking off to the side any, did you?
I did. I saw about a 3 foot or 3 inch, 2.5, 3 inch steel pipe going into about 2 feet down. In fact, there was a root that made its way into that and across into that pipe. What do you think that is?
Well, that pipe ain't in the right spot, but I thought it could have been an old cistern where they used to catch all the water off the roofs and then turn around and pump it back or pump it on the grass. But an 8-inch pipe.
It goes straight down. There's no. That's a long way to go if you had a cistern down there. I know, I thought that. I don't know.
And the one I dug up at my house on Nebraska was the same way, and they could have been trying to do a well with sewer pipe to get to the water.
I guess. Well, I'm gonna drill it. And just use that as a conductor, and then I'm gonna drill I think around a 6-inch hole, put in like, 4.5, maybe 5-inch PVC as my actual casing, and then my tubing inside that. We'd use that as our 22 feet cut. That's in that first zone. I'm pretty sure if I were to clean it out.
Yeah.
And I think I'll go on down to the second. So, I'm there. That's the way I see it. I'm gonna have the greenest lawn in town.
I'm sure it ain't doing anyway.
I watered today. I'm not having another one of $250 bills to water the damn lawn.
Really? What you got to?
I had that 1 month. I put out seed, and so
You had to.
I and I got nailed. So year after that, I said, I think if I get a well, hell yeah, I'm gonna put a solar pump on that thing and get after it. Maybe a 24-hour water feature. But I couldn't believe it. I never heard of that. And I talked to Gary Giesling because I thought, well, maybe you knew something about it. He'd never heard anything about that. So you have the same clay tile or clay pipe, the one you think? Well, at least now I've heard of it.
But I thought mine went into a septic tank, because the big concrete, it was right in the middle of a big concrete top
Or
deal.
was.
But it's not a septic tank.
Which one do you like better, the smaller one or the
They
bigger
had
one?
thrown a rock.
That's what I'm
and
thinking.
it
I mean,
kinda
I think it'd just
stuck
be
where that
easier to grab.
Yeah.
sewer pipe goes in.
Do you notice the back of them?
Yeah.
They got
And
that
then
like
there's
grippy.
dirt on top of that. Or a tin
Yeah.
can and dirt on top of that. But it was open all the way below that. And,
I'll just get the
I
council's
can see
okay
a
on
lot of
it,
it was
which I don't think they're gonna complain.
So,
Free's free.
I was gonna say, if it's
but that pipe is
Yeah.
going toward the house, the southwest corner. Maybe just like a gray water kind of thing. I know it's, I know it's not septic. I mean, that wouldn't have lasted very long.
No, like I say, that would have been like rainwater off the corner of the house, or
Chicken
like you
coop.
say, gray water.
Yeah, gray water. I mean, being a
Because
pipe.
it used to be, years ago, you could turn all your kitchen sink water and all that out on the ground in your yard.
And maybe that's what that was about. They just didn't want a wet spot.
They put it down the pipe and they could pump that out on the grass whenever they want.
That was common for like laundry.
I guess.
Laundry,
Mhm.
your washing machine could dump out on
Yeah.
the ground and it wasn't, but boy, you can't do that anymore.
Boy, in that depth, you know, that is, people could, you know, have been drinking out of that zone. I don't think I would. But for the, you know, even if I completed it right there at that, all those nitrates in that zone, what it would matter? And it's better for the yard.
Yeah,
I think they did away with that though, because of the chemicals in the laundry
if you,
soap.
if you were in that, if you're in that top zone where you live, I don't believe you would have nitrate pump.
From field runoffs?
Not where you're at,
Well, it is pretty far to travel, but I thought, you know, with
because
an aquifer, that water can move.
I know, but the chances, more chances of it going through where you're still up higher than what we are over there on that other well.
Oh, yeah.
You're a higher level, so you wouldn't, it would go around you easier than what it would come to you. And the only reason the nitrates come to you in a well is if you start pumping it too fast.
Yeah, well.
It
how
sucks
far?
everything.
If you're using a Rita pump or something like that, yeah.
No, you don't
Like
even
you're
have to
using-
use that. I mean, if you.
Oh, you
if-
mean like even less than that?
Even less than that, if you put
Really?
a submersible pump in there and you're running full blast, you're sucking everything. If you leave it like your solar pump, where it's just enough to run your sprinklers or sprinkler out there in the yard, you won't suck them nitrates to your well.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I still have to get a different pipe in there. That clay wouldn't be, it was weird. It was like 4-foot sections.
That was common back in the,
I guess, but you know, I'm trying to think about, okay, they could get in there, and it was probably a cable tool rig, and they got the hole, but to drop each section in on top of the other, I'm trying to figure out how they did it, mechanically, how they did it.
manpower.
No, I'm just saying, you gotta drop a 4-foot section that's 8 inches on the inside,
Yeah.
and it's like, from what I saw, inch thick clay.
Well, you gotta watch
But
because
you gotta
when,
drop it, it's gotta fit into the next one, going down. I don't know.
when we bought Main Street, part of ours was collapsed, so we had to have it all redone.
Oh, yeah?
Plus it gets brittle after years, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
This-
everything else.
This looked still really smooth inside. It was weird. In fact, I got pictures of it.
Well, you lucked out then.
I think I took pictures.
Did you get your chicken coop cleaned out?
Yeah. I even got down into the dirt, you know, and I put that in on my compost piles, so I'll wait till after, hopefully we can get some good rains and then I can fold that in.
You might wanna check on the severity of it, how hot chicken coop is, so.
I only have 2 pictures. That's what I got.
They coming back, right?
Huh?
They coming back?
Yep. There's only 2 minutes.
You're doomed.
I know.
They didn't ask you any questions?
Oh, a lot. I'm a fast talker.
Yeah.
We will be back in session, please. Executive session is over with no action taken in that room.
I make,
Further discussion.
I make a motion that we hire Kelly Brock for the pool manager at $17 an hour. Aye.
Aye. I'm going to abstain since I am related.
Ms. Brock, is that an
Just to get
acceptable
around the
compensation for you? Or are
Yes.
you willing to agree to that terms?
Yes, sir.
And you will be buying us all lunch during that time period?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Only once.
Thanks, Kelly. I can do that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, guys.
And it was, otherwise, was it one here? Three, okay. There's 3.
Do we hire the lifeguards? Do we need to interview those people, or is that her responsibility?
She'll interview them.
She'll interview them? All right, very good. I will move on to the city clerk position on your agenda. So, Madam City Clerk, the floor is yours. Go for it.
Okay, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain
And
this.
speak loud. I'm old.
I'm glad we got that on recording. There was some confusion with some of the policies when I was first hired that I didn't know that sick leave had been just merged into PTO. So I was wondering if I could cash out my PTO since I'm leaving. I have 19 hours of it.
I think that's kind of a gray area in our book as far as, because I didn't find anything mentioned about PTO. It was vacation or sick leave, yeah. I don't know if that's something-
I need to look at policy and the ordinance and give you the answer. I can do that, but I can't do it tonight. Yeah.
She will be
I
leaving on the
actually
22nd.
think it's
Yeah.
misspelled.
She'll be leaving before you come back to us, so you have to phone it in.
Okay.
We leave it with that, or is that an acceptable answer for you?
So I can write that down as table?
Write that down.
Okay.
What's your next question?
You guys approved to change her, they had that paper sign that if you quit, that you pay back and they only want for $200.
Yeah,
And then you want to cash in PTO.
that's
So
what
they
I,
knocked off 900.
yeah,
So you
700. That's what I was trying to do, like, since I had 19 hours, maybe I could cash that and kind of pay back some of the 200.
I'm happy with that, but that's up to the council. Is that agreeable?
I don't know about that. Yeah, I think it was on the 700 area. When it starts to have it.
We'll have to see what he says.
Is that acceptable?
We'll have to see what he says.
All right.
So that's table.
Next question.
Well, the next thing on here is pool admission.
Oh, the question about the admission to the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Okay. From time to time, we have solicited contributions to match some granted money that came elsewhere. I don't know where any of it came from. So are we still doing that? Are we still, is that a procedure that's still in place? Have we heard from our benefactors as to whether the large contribution was made this year?
I don't know, I thought there was enough, was it for 2 years?
That was-
But our 2 years are up,
I didn't say.
I see, so that's default now.
And I don't think we ever did.
needs to be worded right, so that the money can be used for the pool, not only
For admission.
So that's what we got so much money that it went for 2 years.
Mhm.
And if we don't do anything else.
Right. This is March, you got 2 months, I don't know if we'll really have enough time to get it up and going again.
3,000 is a goal,
Mhm.
because that's pretty much what we use every year.
Should we just set a price and go with that this year, or? It's always been, what, $2? $2, Kelly?
I don't know what it was the last few years, cause
It's
We
free
had
the last
free,
2
but-
years. Yeah, well, I mean, before
Right.
when I was gone, I think it was either $1.15 or 2.
Kind of all three.
$3?
And we always had season passes.
Right. And I don't wanna set it too high, because, you know, people might have 4, 5, 6 kids. It gets expensive every day. I mean, they could do the pass, which would be a lot cheaper. But I also know it's very expensive to run a pool, so.
Can maybe we call around to the surrounding areas and see what everybody else's is and decide next month?
Yeah, we could do that.
Cause I'm curious to what Cunningham, I mean, that's pretty,
Stafford.
Stafford and all them.
Would you advertise, is it helpful to advertise and ask, solicit contributions?
I just don't know that we'd have enough time to do that,
Yeah, we would need to be probably in place next month.
yeah.
I say let's table it and find out what the other pools are charging.
And then we need to come up with a price for season passes.
And hours and days.
Absent that, shall we ask the pool manager to give some thought to, what an appropriate admission rate ought to be, and whether season tickets or season passes, and price of those?
Do you remember what season passes were before?
Yeah, that was years ago, but it was.
Was it 65?
50 for single, I believe, 70, I know it's 75 for the family house.
Well, let's check with area pools and see what they're doing as far as rates and passes, hours, days. And then bring that back to next month.
Next.
Alright. The next thing I have is, we got a letter packet from the Kansas Department of Transportation about part of the highway that goes through town. I don't know if you guys wanna go into executive session, look over this or what. I just wanted to let you all know.
That's a mailing from KDOT. They will maintain the part of 61 highway that passes through the city limits of Turon, and they have the boundaries and the reference points noted there. And some towns, like the city of Pratt, have their own maintenance equipment, and they maintain like the portion of First Street, which is actually 54 highway. Pratt City maintains it themselves. They get compensation from KDOT for that. Also 281 highway that goes north and south. We don't have the equipment to do that type of street work. So in the past, we have allowed KDOT to do that, but then they don't pay us to maintain it because they are maintaining it. So it seems to me like it's a win-win situation all around. I'd be happy to sign that, but that's what the note says. If you want to read it, we can pass that around. But it's just basically an understanding that they're going to maintain it, and we're not going to ask any questions. So
And this is just something apparently we get every year.
I think so. I don't know how often it comes, but
I'm not sure either.
bigger towns would have their own equipment to maintain, highways that pass through their city limits. Small towns like Preston and Turon and Langdon and Arlington do not have that equipment.
Put on there to smooth out 61 more than they did.
I'm sorry?
Put on there to smooth out 61 highway
Yeah,
while they're
smooth
at
it,
it.
widen it to 4 lanes.
No, just smooth it.
Yeah.
And it tells you how many lane miles they're figuring.
Maybe so, that's been a while. I didn't see that. I think maybe they're just updating their contracts, cause this was in 1978.
Yeah, there's the payments. Oh, this is, yeah, the city's not doing it, so not the.
I'm not finding money's where it was essentially supported.
Taking care of 1.18 miles, it says.
They passed those. Yeah.
Just need to sign it and let them take care of it. Just sign it and let the state take care of it.
You guys want to see it?
No,
Ladies wish to see this.
We trust the lawyer, we can review it.
Any thoughts on that?
I think you sign it.
Move to approve this relationship with KDOT.
I'll make the motion to
We're
accept
not
their.
spending any money.
Yeah, that's true. So we
They will maintain the.
Consensus.
they will
Like,
maintain
yeah,
the-
I would know.
It's true.
I don't know why we want to. Well, I have no reason
We're
to
just having
question
a
it.
consensus for you to sign that.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have all the guys over there?
Yeah.
Yep, sign
Thank
it.
you.
It should be a 10. I know I put things down. Unless it's all off.
I don't hear you, I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering where all the 10s I put rolled off to. There's one.
And what is the night owl item?
Okay, the night owl item is 2 things, when it wasn't originally 2 things, but I printed off copies of the pages 10 and 11 of our model of night owls using manual to show that there is no way to install that onto a desktop. It only does support for an app. And, okay, a couple of you already know about this because I've been asking you about the 12 volt power supplies, but currently our security system's down. So I ordered a replacement 12 volt off of Amazon. Ken couldn't find one at so that's why I ordered a replacement to hopefully see if that fixes it. But oh crap.
We this is something we could talk about in executive session on security measures for the building. We can have an executive session on security matters
Yes.
for the building on this if we want to.
Okay. Right now, the security system is down. Is that correct? You don't want to say it out loud.
It's been a long day, I wasn't thinking.
Did you say you ordered another power unit, or you found it? Yes?
Yes, I ordered another one.
Okay. We don't really know though if it's the power unit or if it's the machine itself, is that correct?
That's what we don't know.
So we may be ahead of ourselves by ordering a power unit, we can give it a shot. Guess we can send it back, maybe if we don't need it, maybe not.
Battery.
So do you guys want to have a more detailed discussion?
More detailed discussion.
I don't guess I know what all our options are, for details, so I don't know, I guess, do we need to talk about this?
I think the cheap answer is the cheap fix is to find a power unit that works. If it's not the power unit, then we move on to more expensive
You said
options,
the
like
battery.
replacing the system.
It's the battery backup. We'll see if it fixes it, and if not,
What's your pleasure? What do you think you want to do?
we'll just wait and see if it fixes it.
Speak up, young man.
We'll just wait and see if it fixes it.
Okay, got to shut the vote? Yes. Okay, well then I'll have and receive a power unit and hope for the best.
Mhm.
All right, I'm ready to move on to the treasurer's report. Do we have something that looks like a treasurer's report?
The accountant's supposed to get here on the 13th. I don't have anything for this meeting for the treasurer's report.
Okay, are we in debt? We have bank balance yet?
She said she doesn't have it. She just said she doesn't have it.
Okay, very good. Moving on to the property officer. We don't have a property officer. Legal matters.
I'd like to talk about the property while we're on that. Since we had a meeting that was about that, that I was at another meeting and for the county on. So I was just wondering what was decided to do with, we need to find out how many properties we've got over evidently. Well, what was our goal?
We wanted them to tell us what they're doing before it just went from her to lawyer.
Okay.
We wanna see.
So, okay, but there was also something in there about wanting to know, where we were at. What does it say? It doesn't, let's,
Just where it says you get caught up on property complaints.
yeah. So, I guess where are we at on our property complaints?
That's something else.
Well, I think we need Logan to answer that. The general procedure, either we get a complaint, he notices something, he sends out a letter and says, here's what the violation is.
Have there been any turned in for a while?
I don't know what gets turned in. I don't generally get involved until he's made 2 or 3 attempts to get the person to correct it themselves. And then once that fails to work, he lets me know, and then we've got kind of a more serious one that says, you've been notified, the city's gonna abate the condition unless you fix it yourself.
Okay, so, where are we at on the 2 that we talked about? Are we, did you say that we have to start over on those?
I think we need to start over because we went after them under the minimum housing code and basically said they weren't fit to live in because the main thing was they hadn't had utilities for an extended period of time. But to get to where you tear down the structure, I think you've got to get through the dangerous and unsafe structure part of the code, which is, I brought that with me.
It's chapter 8, I believe.
I believe that's right. And to do that or chapter 4-600 is a section that designates a city building inspector as a person that acts under that code. So we need to appoint a city building inspector, and then we can proceed under that part of that code.
Give me just a second.
Okay, and it's in like chapter 4. And it would be 4-600, that part of it.
Is that the same person as the property officer?
No.
No.
Well, we don't have one. I think it,
Doesn't it only go to 228?
so it's 4, and then it's up here in article. It starts here for these.
Okay. And it's,
But this is where you get down to ultimately turn it down.
okay, but then I guess I got a question about chapter 8. If we're over here, and we have a structure that's deemed dangerous or a health risk, which I would say that both of those are, if a child was to go in them or something like that, that our city has an opportunity to send a representative either appointed by the mayor or spoke on by the city council to decide what we need to do. And we have, I guess I see all the rules. I don't really see why we're dragging our feet on it. Because in chapter 8, it covers a lot right there. Let me see. I'm trying to find where I put it here. I just have a question as to what we have a property officer for. If we're going to need to have a building inspector, I think that we need to revamp that.
Do we need both?
I don't think so. I think we need both, or need to revamp it into one, or
Yeah.
something.
And I agree with that. I don't think it doesn't make sense to have a city inspector officer that just does that. I think it would make sense to update that portion of it or get rid of that portion and loop it into the minimum housing code.
like where it says on the cost assessed, if the city abates or removes the nuisance pursuant to 8208, the city shall give notice to the owner or his or her agent by certified mail return request of the total cost of the abatement. Let's see. That it's just the last paragraph, and the city may pursue collection both by levying a special assessment and in a manner provided by KSA 12-115 and amendments thereof, but only until the full cost of the applicant's interest has been paid in full, which that's not the exact space I was looking at, but
Yeah, and I think what I'd like to link up between the two for Joe Wonders. So we did the violations under the housing code. Mainly what we focused on, we did those violations, was the lack of utilities, the lack of sewer. We didn't do anything based on, because of the structure of this house, it's a danger. So I think to tear it down is a dangerous structure, or to tear it down, I'd rather start the process over, say this is exactly what we're saying is wrong. The argument against that would be, you told me I couldn't live there if I didn't have water and electricity. I've got that now. You can't come in and tear it down for reasons outside that initial notice that we sent. And I think the focus of what the notice was more sanitary than it was the structural end.
so we did that, though, right?
We did that end of it, and we did that mainly to get the people out of that were living in the houses
Right.
for a year without water and sewer.
So we don't have to do that again? So we can skip that part?
Well, I think if the ultimate goal is to tear them down, I think we've got to start over with the notice of what the issue is, and why it needs to be torn down.
But now it won't be just because they don't have water or sewer, it's because the
Right.
whole structure is unlivable or
Right.
dangerous.
Or danger of collapsing and causing injury, whatever on that end. But if we're gonna take the step of tearing it down, I wanna make sure that we've covered, here's exactly what we're saying is wrong with it. Then they get notice, chance to be heard on it. And a
So
chance
have we
to-
heard back from any of the owners?
Not since we had the municipal court case.
So they haven't showed any interest in cleaning or doing anything to tear down the house themselves.
Correct.
So I would say that we need to find a person to be the, what do we wanna call it, the property building inspector, and put the job of property manager into that job as well.
Are there standards for a building inspector? Do we have to send this person to school or training?
Not.
Something so he recognizes structural impairments?
There's nothing under our code, and I think it would get, I don't think there's anything that we want to tear down that is gonna be that technical a call. I think the stuff that we want to get torn down is gonna be blatantly obvious looking at it, that's not safe. Where
I just don't want to be challenged later on by someone who says we didn't have a qualified inspector to make that decision.
So, I mean, the way the code would play out, they'd have a right to a hearing on it from the governing body, so that the council would get to make the call. If they're not happy with the council's decision, they could appeal it to district court. So potentially, I could be at that point, and I'd have to present enough evidence for district court to find that the council's finding was reasonable. And so I don't think we have to have like an engineer in that position. I think whatever you guys are wanting to clean up is gonna be obvious enough that we can present pictures, video of it, then that's gonna be sufficient for a court to look at and say, yeah, you gave the right notice, yes, the structure's splittable.
We have to establish a checklist or a list of criteria to judge upon, such as vermin infestation and plumbing leaking and wiring
So we,
problems or.
yeah, I mean, it's not a set list for every property, but we need to be able to explain pretty well, here's what the problems are. And I think we can do that, you know, what.
We can do that per example from time for each individual, on an individual basis.
Yeah, so what we do, you know, different cities do it different ways. I've got one where they try to do so many a year, and they've got an idea what the properties are. And in that city, the clerk is the one that's appointed to run that section of the code. They get photos of all the properties, bring to the council and say, hey, here are the ones that we're looking at for this year. And then if it's gonna proceed under that, they do the title work to make sure, you know, you've got the owner of record, any lien holders, everybody gets notice. And then set it for a public hearing and put on the pictures, put on the description of the property and say, here's what's wrong with it. If the owner wants to show up and contest at that hearing, they can. If they don't, they can get the order to correct it by a certain date. If they don't do that, the city can demolish it. So I think for purposes of this, Logan could be the city inspector. I think one of the city guys could be the city inspector if they're willing to do that. You know, just somebody that can put together that initial packet, bring it to the council, and then we could run through that procedure from there.
Do we need to change our code to establish a building inspector position and essentially perhaps do away with the property officer or combine with the property officer? Do we need to change the code to create that position and designate certain
We already
duties?
have a position in there.
We've got a position here as city inspector. I think it would be cleanest to amend this one and take out city inspector and make that the property officer, or add that to the property officer's duties to include being the city inspector. That way you've got one person doing it.
So do we need to have a formal hearing to amend that code?
We'd have to do an ordinance to change the code.
Ordinance change.
Yeah. But I think we could get started on this procedure. We just, under the code that we have now, we just have to appoint a city inspector.
I guess I think that we ought to, we need to look at our property officer position, because I don't feel like we're getting our bang for our buck there. Because a lot of this should have already been started on, and I know there's people wanting things straightened up and cleaned up and looking better in the town, and I think that we ought to put it to the city men to be the property managers, and for now, go ahead.
Well, and what I can say is, I mean, a lot of what we've done, you know, I've talked to Logan, is we're trying to get the homeowners, the property owners to comply voluntarily. You know, and if you want to see a change on that, you want the city doing more of it, and part of that's what I've told him, is let's work with them, let's get them to try to do that. If you want me to change that, we can start pushing more stuff through court and try to push stuff faster. I don't know that it's necessarily the property officer. I mean, that's part of the direction that I've given him when he's come to me with questions too.
that's something that we pushed a long time ago because we were spending more money. It was getting pretty expensive a while back when we were going to court all the time on properties. Money we didn't have in the budget.
In that, I mean, my thought with it, if you get the homeowner to do it, you're not paying the city guys to do it, you're not wasting their time on it, you're not paying a judge to come over, you know, each month for hearings on how tall somebody's grass is and issues like that. I've got no problem going that route, but like I said, a lot of it is what I told Logan is try to get people to comply with it themselves.
It used to be that all the complaints that were turned in the city office came to the council, and then we had an executive session about it all, and we knew what was going on, rather than finding out later what was going on. We knew what was going on and what was getting sent out and stuff. I don't know. And then all of a sudden that just stopped, and then all started going straight to you. I don't know if that's something.
That was before,
I think that was before you.
I got here.
That was, it just stopped coming to the council and started going straight to the attorney.
I'd have no problem if you guys wanna have, you know, a legal executive session every meeting and run through the complaints that come in and just get an update on those. Try that, see if.
I definitely think we should.
I think so too.
I have a great interest in moving forward, but my question is, where do we start? What do we need to do, an ordinance change first to have the authority to do what needs to be done, or do we need to combine the property officer and the building inspector position? Do we need to do all that first? Where do we need to start?
Let me look at those two, and I'll either come back with an ordinance, combine them both for next month for you guys to look at, or an answer that this is how it works with what we have. To me, I think they're two separate actions, one on unsanitary versus unsafe.
While we're on this subject, it was, someone had posted down in Cunningham, I think it was, they didn't like some of the things that the council was doing as far as telling them to keep their properties looking nice. And there was a few comments on there that really just kind of struck at my heart, because one lady, I'm just gonna read some of these, they said, because we don't wanna look like Turon. And another one said, you're right, it shouldn't look like Turon, but should the person who drives around and makes these decisions be someone that doesn't even live in town? But I mean, there was 3 or 4 comments that says, I just responded my honest answer to the question. I always tell my kids to pick up the trash while at the park, volunteer in the community, and clean up where they see a need or will look like Turon. They know exactly what I mean because they say something every time we drive through Turon. I think you have a lot of people who have pride in our community. Well, that has nothing to do with this. But I mean, there was 4 or 5 things on there. You know, that people are just, they know what Turon is looking like. We have got to do something to get this cleaned up and looking like a town that we want to live in instead of being made fun of by other communities.
And we got praised for cleaning some things up at the Sylvia meeting tonight. I had to go up there to handle some stuff before coming here. And at the Sylvia meeting, we were getting praised for starting to clean some things up.
Really?
Because they are going down the hill fast. And we now look better than them.
I mean, I don't want to be the town that everybody else is talking about. I want to get this cleaned up. I mean, I don't think we have the right to just tell people you can't have this in your yard. I mean, I don't want to be like an HOA that's just so picky you can't do anything. But, you know, we have a lot of properties here that are just trash. And a lot of buildings that are dilapidated. You know, we've got to get some of these taken care of.
And if we have some opportunities with like the commissioner was saying, we need to get it taken care of now and start the process so that it's ready when we can get the money.
Yeah.
instead of just sitting back and waiting.
Yeah, I agree. I
And,
did want-
and the two properties that we have sitting empty, they need to go. I mean, we've got them empty, and they are part of the reason that people are driving through saying that, because one of them's right there where they drive through, I feel. So I think we've got it in the budget to tear those two down, surely. We need to get another quote, because we had a quote at one time. So I think you ought to, if you want to check on getting a quote, I guess I would make, if we need to get a quote, we don't need a motion. I think that we ought to at least get quotes on them, how much they'll cost to tear down and clean up.
I can get a quote.
Unless the people are gonna clean them up, I mean, but they've had plenty of time, I feel like, and so you say the ordinances that we have in our book aren't good enough to cover that kind of thing?
What I'm saying is the notices that we sent out, the violations that we notified them of were lack of utilities, sanitary stuff. To take someone's property like that, you know, tear down structure somebody owns, you're touching on due process rights. So I want to make sure that we've got our, you know, I's dotted and our T's crossed, and that when we do tear it down, we say we gave you notice of exactly why we were going to do this. You had a chance to be heard on it. You haven't done that. You haven't fixed it.
I think we ought to start dotting I's and crossing T's then. I don't know about the rest of you. I know, like, my hometown and several hometowns across the Oklahoma border, just this last weekend, but my hometown was 4 years ago, that a fire burned through it, and you don't want that to happen because it cleans it up, but you don't get to choose what property you get cleaned up, but it will clean it up eventually, but it's not something that you want to happen in your hometown because you can't keep kids safe and older people that need evacuated and whatnot. And I think we're getting close to having some of those issues too, with all the piles of junk that's like limbs that are piled up and everything like that. I mean, that's just, look, it's just a fire waiting to happen, especially if it's up against houses. Then one house will jump to another. So, because that's what it did down home. So that's just a concern of mine.
So what do we need to do first? Or have we done it? Are we in place?
So on the next meeting, I'll either bring an ordinance, putting them together, or say, all we need to do is appoint the property officer, ask the city inspector, and we'll get to go under the code that we have. Like I said, I'd feel better if we're tearing something down, going under the 4601 section, which says the city inspector is the one that runs it. I'll look at the 8500 section, see if we can do it under there, and if so, maybe we just repeal the 4601 and just do it through the 8500 section. And then the property officer.
Is that agreeable to refer this to legal counsel to propose a change in the ordinance?
Like to see it moved forward, so, yeah, great. Yes.
Okay, that's what we're gonna do.
There is, I would like to call another executive session. I don't know if now's the right time, but, I'd like to call one, for non-elected personnel with council, mayor, attorney, for 15 minutes.
Non-elected.
Yeah, non-elected personnel.
Second.
All right.
Aye.
agrees with us, they're wanting to tear it down. It's an eyesore. They don't like it either. So they're kind of in the middle too.
Nothing can be done about it, stay away from it in town.
Yeah.
The owner, Landon's not.
And that's what I mentioned to Gail. I said, why don't we start all over again? Hell, we've invested, what, 5 years at least in that house. You know, all he's doing is getting more money, more money.
You can't do nothing because of the law that's doing it.
Look at Kathy Marshall, there's holes in this, in the, roof, you know, but as long as she pays the taxes, you know? Okay, I'll let you listen up because I mean, she wants to tear it down. But she don't want to be no there. In my hands and up a little bit, that you would.
You can't force it. The judge has gotta clear it.
But I don't see why they want to be brands all over again. Have them take a lawyers over 5 years trying to get it tore down. No, brands. A lot.
And there's only one real quick answer to the whole thing.
Match. Sonia's house and paid good money for it, $120,000. They regret moving in here now because they moved to Michigan not knowing what Turon looked like.
By the way,
Yeah.
show me what I work.
You know, I'm going, I'm just gonna say that.
I think they're still putting meter with purple house used to be.
Hey, no, no. The hole's there. We're talking about how many meters can we pay in the bill?
Right.
That's, so it's less than that, I know that.
Well, look at Manny's house.
2% of the population every year, population census.
Look at Manny's house. His house is as bad as Brandon's. He's got no water or electricity or nothing. Yes, he does. Does he got electricity? Okay, well, that's the new one because
I'm just looking at it.
this is hopping water.
There's a census of 2020 with 311 people. I know.
No, there was a
Nine they left.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there was a bunch.
I'm just saying, you're losing 2%, which basically cuts down to one family. When you get down to it, you know, census. I would imagine the population being somewhere around 250 and that.
But when's the last time? Yeah, when's the last time you drove through Sylvia?
I have.
Turon looks pretty damn good considering Sylvia. We're hanging out in the string now. Oh, Jane told me she told you that. Oh, yeah, he's gonna make sure there's no video for turn off one. I know. He's gonna.
Look,
turn 'em
I'm
off.
tired, but not that damn
He's gonna turn them off free.
If the city wants it, then I'll burn them off.
But why are we paying, I mean, I'm sorry, I like Logan, but why are we paying $500 a month? And Everett's expected to be here.
Well, like that property right there.
I wrote 25 complaints in that property, you see.
Or the city clerk, or, so, I showed you the road.
She got it free and was told that it had to come down. Yeah.
Well, we paid, what, $1,000 for the purple house, and then we tore the son of a bitch down.
Yeah. It was unsafe.
Take too much, I feel we all gotta do a appraisal. You know, empty lot is 800, I say a lot, which is.
It was worth that, take the house down because it was unsafe.
It was worth that, now I have that property, and it's wild.
Yeah.
I like it cleaned up.
You could get the appraisal down to $880, that's what the bank lot is.
But sometimes
For a house.
the eyesore is worth the money to get rid of it.
Well, yeah.
And then whatever we pay Todd Walker.
Let's face it, that storm we had in 2019, that purple house is still standing. That motherfucker would have been knocked out. If they took the pole barn's roof off, oh yeah, it would have took that house down. There was no freaking cross beams in that purple house.
There was no support. I would sit there at the kitchen window and watch it sway.
Yeah, it would fucking sit there and change it up.
I'm wondering about taking that house down, mine, it's got, everything in there is like 16 foot. It's 2x4, yellow pine, trusses, and.
Why do you want to take,
16 footers.
why would you consider taking
Strip
it
it
down
down.
though?
Nope.
It's not worth it. I was gonna actually make it into a sheet or a man cage.
Or a shed?
No, the foundation is, I don't think it's even wood. It's just rock. And it's-
That's
when it rains
a
heavy,
lot of the houses
It
here.
flows from north to south. I can stand there and I've seen the river.
So you got a free pool. But there's a lot worse houses than that one, honey.
Strip it. Just strip it down.
Settling it down. Actually, that guy's gonna make a call for you with it. So.
I just don't keep seeing why we're throwing money into Brandon's house. We've been throwing money at it for 5 years and have got nowhere.
Oh.
Have to wait till the fire department's on a busy call and somebody accidentally throw a cigarette in there. But you don't know. Well, Chris West's house is just bad. It's got a big gaping hole.
Gayla made a point about the fire issue, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right, you know, they should have researched the area before they moved.
Yeah. That's what I keep telling myself.
Yeah. Well, that's Craig. He wanted to move to the next town out of Pratt County.
No, I bought that house. I hadn't planned on living here. I was just gonna use it because I'd worked way out west.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I would have to drive, well, another, from here, 2 hours. We sold our house in Wichita, moved to our cabin just between Winfield and our city. So when I would finish a well, like say on the weekend, my clients are in Wichita, I'd have to drive all the way down there, be there first thing Monday morning. And I thought, okay, this would be a halfway. I just flop. And I thought, okay.
Now,
well, I didn't
Mama's
realize
got
I'd
you.
be buying that house and
Mama's got you investing all that money in cabinets and remodeling it. You'll never get it out.
oh, I know it. Well, unless I can find some
Stupid person
you know,
that's never been
Einstein
here.
from California or something.
Yeah.
Or someone from
From
Michigan.
Colorado pays pretty good for the house across over here.
Oh, these people from Colorado?
That's the only way we can sell houses, get
That's
them from
probably a
different
pretty good
states.
house.
Small.
Yeah, I did see some pictures of it. I think when COVID saw that.
We're not giving them money back. What they said.
We'll be back in session, no action taken during the executive session. Okay. Have we exhausted legal matters? Did you have other legal matters to discuss with us?
I think the main other one, I talked to the Reno County Community Foundation about the senior citizen building.
Yes.
They said the way that needs to work is the city needs to be the entity that applies for the grant.
The city needs to
The
apply
city
for
needs
the
to be
grant.
the one that applies for it, and then the city can dictate how it's done. They did seem to indicate there'd be money available.
We need to go find the forms or make contact with the community foundation, or do I need
So,
to do that? or-
I got a hold of Michaela and I told her that we needed to apply and look into that also, which I don't know where she ever got to on that. But there would be money for us for our maintenance shop too, roof, that can be applied for through that.
That's what I was gonna bring up tonight. Why couldn't we go ahead and apply for this same thing?
We can.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's something we should do.
The deadline is coming soon though.
They didn't tell me what it was, but that's kind of the indication I got.
I heard like March 15th or something.
Oh,
Or March 25th,
that's like 4 days.
That was a while ago.
I heard it, I think it was March. It may have been April 15th, but it was coming soon.
They,
I'm thinking maybe it was April, maybe.
It wasn't very far out. That was a while back that I talked to them.
they seemed very receptive when I talked to them. Like, they were excited that someone from this part of the county was asking about it. And they said, make sure something gets turned in if you guys are interested. So,
If we decide to do that, what do we need to do? We need to pass a motion to pursue that.
I think, decide what you want to include include, if you wanna have the maintenance building, the senior center, try to go for as much as possible to see what you can get on it.
But can we do that since the senior center is not really the city's? I mean, it's a complete different thing.
I think it's a benefit for the citizens, benefit for the city. You can apply for it to use it for that purpose, and to put it towards that purpose.
You need to itemize different amounts, X dollars to be used for the city center, and X dollars to be used, Y dollars to be used for city maintenance.
I would think the grant application would want that, it would wanna know what you wanna do with the maintenance building, how much you're asking for that, what you wanna do with the senior center.
I'd say
how
we'll
much you're
probably
asking
have the
for.
clerks look into it and see where we get on city building stuff. Because it looked like that these windows and stuff, and this door and stuff, and the roof at the maintenance shop could all be part of that Reno County Foundation stuff. So,
Let's look into that and see if we can get that started.
I would say we may have to see where that gets, and it may have to be a special meeting quick if we're going to try to apply, or if we have to have extra information to apply.
I don't wanna overwhelm them though. You know, if we can easily get $20,000 for the roof of the senior center, and if we apply for $200,000, that makes.
There was, at the point in time I talked to the deal, there was like $1 million still available in Reno County for the year, or close to $1 million.
And if we get any, would be, better than nothing.
It was a lot.
So, I'd be
Last
happy
year,
to get
like
anything.
$3.3 million or something went unused.
So who needs to look into this then?
You're the president.
The president is just
Oh.
overwhelmed.
The clerks.
So,
You want me to contact the community foundation and begin this process somehow with
That's good with me. It's
the
good with me.
consensus?
yeah,
Okay.
And which I talked to her about it, so she may have some information on it already, I don't know.
Since we're on grants, can I bring this up now or not? I called, there is grants out there, and Edie Green brought this to my attention, through the wildlife and parks for the pool. It may not be for the pool, but I mean, you could get grants for that. There's an application here, and it's quite lengthy. It would not help us this year. They're taking applications until September. But I think they did put a pool in, or I'm not gonna say they put a pool in, but they helped at least with the pool. Gosh, I didn't write down where it's from, some little town. But I think that might be something else that we could look into and put an application in for that, so. Like I said, if we get any type of money to help, it would be a plus. But I just wanted to bring that up, that that is available out there, and they're taking applications until September 13th. Get some of this other stuff done first, and then try that. Other stuff. Right. So, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up.
I think the only other question I had was about guns in the city building. Under the statute, unless you've got metal detectors at every door of municipal owned building, you can't prohibit someone with a concealed carry permit from having concealed carry in the building. So I don't,
Is there not even concealed carry guns anymore though? I think that's,
think that.
I don't even think
for
it.
the little kids, but minors.
Oh.
Well, under
Well-
21, and if you have a concealed carry or not, there's not much going on. It's an open carry.
I mean, you've always been able to.
No, you can.
You've always been able
Concealed
to.
carry.
You've always been able to open
Yeah,
carry,
concealed carry.
but
You do not need a permit to conceal carry anymore in the state of Kansas.
Okay. I knew there was something about that, but.
the statute's still there saying you can't ban someone from carrying unless you have those security measures on a
For
public
open
building.
or concealed, either one.
The statute says concealed.
It's for either
Do
one.
not ban someone from concealed carry.
Unless you have metal detectors at every door in the bin, all firearms from coming in
Or
essentially.
stickers on the doors or something?
You'd have to have the sign and the
Signage.
security measures.
Try this taxes, put it in.
I'm guessing we don't have any interest in pursuing that. Can we move on?
Yep, that's all that I have.
We have water bill hearings on the agenda. Madam Secretary, how's it looking?
Dan, is there any reason that you need to be there during that guest speaker?
I'll stick around for that.
Do we need to, we could probably move that up to after water bill hearings if.
That works for me.
Yeah, you've been patient.
Or do you wanna do that right now?
How many water bills do hearings we need? 4?
Are they here?
Can,
4 hearings.
How many are
Good.
could we move up the guest speaker while Danny's here?
I think at least one's here.
It's okay with me?
Yeah, let's move to.
Okay.
Okay.
Yay.
I'll be real quick here. Creighton Remus with Next Tech Wireless. We're out of Hayes, Kansas. We've got service down in the area. We're trying to improve the service, make it a little better down in here. Building a lot of sites in the Mound Ridge area, and then over here we've got about 40 some sites we're building. A lot of these sites we've been kind of going in. Of course, you see the water tower or the cell towers and stuff like that around. We've been building a lot ourselves, going on some of them. We do that quite a bit. The money goes to American Tower, a lot of tower companies a long ways away. So what we have been doing a lot is grain elevators and water towers. Renting spot on that, like you guys' water tower there, what we would do is go up and put antennas on the top, that top rail up there, so it wouldn't block your Turon sign or anything like that. They just have a standoff that goes out there that mounts the antennas on a cable. There's just 2 cables now that run down the center down there, and then right to a cabinet at the bottom. We used to put buildings, but now they have little air conditioning, heat exchange cabinets that go at the bottom down there. It's a real simple process. We just did one in Yoder there on the rural water district number 3. Finished that, worked with them, and this is the same lease we use with all water towers. Burton, we just did Burton also. Pay $600 a month. So I mean, it's really a good thing, I think, for all the cities and elevators. You know, keeps the money local and stuff. So it's just something. What I did, I brought. Sure, you'll be one of me wants to look at it. And I printed off a few more here.
Thank you.
You guys can kind of share and look at. And I did bring a few cards here. But I don't know if you guys have any questions on that. It's a pretty simple process what we do. We go up there and mount the antennas. We have on the lease 6 antennas. The technology changes so fast that right now we'll be having 600 megahertz is the coverage that we have. So there would just be 3 antennas and 3 radios right at this time. But it's one of those deals, it might be 3 more antennas, 2 weeks from now. It just, the technology changes so fast. So that's what we do. That's kind of a bare minimum. A lot of the old antennas, when we had voice and LTE and data and everything, we had 9 antennas on the towers. Now all the equipment's shrinking down, smaller. So what they would do is mount the antennas up there, like 6 antennas. They'd have 2 antennas going north, 2 antennas going east, and 2 antennas going west. So they call them sectors. There's 3 sectors. And they put them antennas up there, and then it'll say 6 radios. All them are is a little box about this big by that big that goes behind the antennas. Just
Up on the top.
Up on the top, yep. Yeah, so what you'd have is just 6 antennas and 6 radios up there. and then a cabinet about the size, not quite as big as a normal refrigerator, in between a college refrigerator and a normal refrigerator on the bottom.
It's on the ground.
That's on the ground, yeah. So, we provide all our own power, and it'll show in there, everything's insured. You know, like say, we have licensed, it's out of McPherson United Towers, does all the work. They'll come and they're all licensed and everything like that, so something, they hit them.
Where do your cables pass, around the outside, or do they go into the internal?
On this one here, I think they would go right, there should be a hatch plate on the top of you guys is up there, and it'll go down that. There's a, and then it goes, the ladder that goes up the center of the tube, there's standoffs, there are little L brackets that bolt on that. So it doesn't interfere with any climbing or anything like that.
I'm not familiar with
Yeah.
that, but these gentlemen would.
Yeah, so there'll be a little standoff, and it's just 2 7/8 cables that go up the outside. They only need 1 7/8 cable, but the other one, it's, once you put them up there, you know, it's 2 cables don't take up any more space, and if one goes bad, it's easy to switch it over. So I mean, it's a real simple process, and I think,
What's up there now? Is there a railing around the
Yeah.
top up there?
yeah, and that's what they do. They bolted these,
Bolted right on the
the
railing.
brackets right on the
Cables to
railing.
center.
And the railing actually, the brackets actually have standoff, so they come off about that far. That way, you know, this one won't need painted in a long time, but if they do have to paint, we don't have to come in there and move the antennas off. They can just paint it and go. So all the painting companies, that's kind of, we've been doing it long enough, that's what they want, is them standoffs in there, and then they don't have to worry about it when they're doing maintenance on it, so. But, I don't know if you guys have any other, I mean, maintenance guys probably have some questions on any of
You
it.
ain't putting it up, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, once they put it up there, we have a cell tech that goes around and does maintenance. I'd say once a month, he'll just pull in there, open up the cabinet, and make sure
Does he
everything's.
have to go up?
No, once that equipment's up there, the only time anybody would ever have to go up, we'd have to get a hold of you and say, hey, you know, with water towers, you just don't have access to go. We'll say, hey, we got an antenna that's bad. This United Towers out of McPherson, they would come over, climb up there, unbolt one antenna, bring it down.
So you'll be in contact with.
Yeah, we'd
with
talk to
us,
the city.
With our office. And
Maintenance guys, yeah, and say, hey, this is what we're needing to do. Very seldom do them antennas go bad, but they do get hit by lightning or, you know, stuff like that, random things, so.
Can the maintenance people do the work on the ground
Yeah,
by
all,
themselves?
yeah, all our
Do
cell,
we need to know about that, or do they want to, do you want us to know about it when they're
I
working on it, or
mean,
do we
most,
want?
most
do we
cities,
want,
yeah,
to know
most
about
cities
it?
don't even, you know, cause it's just a cabinet sitting there off to the side of your water tower, so I mean, most cities are just like, have at it, you know. We do have to contact the water tower in Ellsworth just because it's by that prison. You know, so we gotta contact them, so we're not out working on that, but other than that, you know, all the other water towers, we just, the tech will show up once a month, maybe open up the cabinet, look at it, and then they're gone, you know, probably 5-10 minutes at the most. So there ain't a lot on that, and I've got my card there, you know, if it is something you guys are interested in, you know, he can look over that lease. I mean, you can talk to Yoder, I think it's Sarah.
How long does your offer stand?
Until you make a yes or no decision. I mean, we do have other options here in the area, you know, so that they want to build fairly soon, you know, if we can, if it's something you guys are interested in.
Fairly soon would be 6 months, or?
Oh, I mean, if they would sign the lease, they would probably build in 2 months,
Okay.
you know, and the
But,
paint.
but we could put the decision off till like the next meeting of the next meeting, like.
Yeah,
1 or 2
yeah,
months.
what we most cities do, you know, like, we set this down, then you guys, you know, later on can talk about it, kick it around, everybody review it, because of course he's gonna need, and then like the next meeting, they'll say, hey, we'll make a yay or nay decision whether we are even interested or not, and he might come back and you can call me directly if it is something you want, say, I don't like section 2, we want this in there, because, I mean, I always say, them attorneys, they always got one little thing you gotta change, you know? But it's, Sarah Eschman, I think it is,
Okay.
was with Rural Water District number 3 that I just dealt with. It's at Yoder Rural Water District number 3, so. And that water tower would have the exact same thing up there, what we're looking at doing, same type of tower and everything. Okay. So, it's out there kind of by the highway patrol.
The whole
Air base deal, yeah, it's right out there is where it's at, so. But, yeah, I mean, that's all I really have. I don't know if any of you guys have.
Questions for Mr. Rivas?
Yeah, anybody have any questions? I mean, it's.
Ever?
I have a question.
Sure.
This surface box at the base of the water towers on the outside? is that
Yes, it's
correct?
on the outside, yeah.
Would it be painted to match the
Yeah,
water tower?
they can paint it, yeah, to match the tower. It's just like a gray, right now it's just a gray
Say
cabinet.
like a refrigerator size or?
Yeah,
smaller?
yeah, it's probably this tall and this wide, and it has heat exchangers on it for all that equipment, and it heats and cools, you know, so that, we used to do a building at the bottom and have, because the equipment's so much bigger, but now everything's like little laptops in there, so.
And
know.
you guys handle, you're on your own power and
Yeah,
everything?
yep, we meter our own power and everything like that. And we will do sometimes like a generator at the bottom. I don't know if they will out here, but we do sometimes put a generator if they got natural gas close. That way, if power goes out in the city or whatever.
Or you'd be attached to our power lines, but you're metering it, so we don't. you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have-
it'll be, you know, city's power.
Yeah.
But we meter it ourselves, so we get our monthly bill. Yep. Yep.
Irvin, you have any questions, or everyone's shaking his head, Irvin? No.
But yeah, so I mean, if you guys look at it, see what you think, let me know. If you got any questions or whatever, so.
Good.
That's all.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate
That's
it.
I.
Sorry to make you wait.
No, that's all right, that's all right.
That's on the agenda here, so.
Yep, no. Okay, well, if no one else has anything, I'll head out. Thank you. Yep, see you guys.
Bye.
If you have any discussion on that, we will put it on unfinished business for next time.
You guys want me for anything else tonight?
You want the legal affairs to look at this lease potential? Yeah, okay.
No, I stole one of his cars. Dana just asking us if we can give the kids Jacqueline and say that we'll track and field. That's a different question, but it's just, you know, basic stuff. I don't think there's any.
Yeah, I think it's like hopscotch, jump rope, maybe some jacks.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
It's probably safer than the swing set I got in the backyard.
All right, any more questions for legal counsel? Thanks for.
All right, thank you guys.
I'm looking at water bill hearings. Is there a need for executive session on that?
I think you have one of them.
I'm sorry?
I think we have one of them here.
One of them is here, all right.
You want to pass
Can we
those
see the
around?
bills, or the hearings on them?
The top one is one this year.
Do they know that? I mean, are they told that? They are.
I tell them it every time.
I wonder if we should have this form remade through Danny, that it says it on the form. Hold on, maybe that.
Probably really dumb.
What is I'm pretty sure.
What is the necessary process here? Do we need to move on, or do we need to move into executive session and we'll conduct a hearing in public, or what do we want to do here?
Did you say one was there?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
At least they're not in here.
What number?
140519.
What is it? Could you give us what the particulars are? Is there
No.
a rational reason?
Okay, that's not.
I thought he was here.
He's not here right now.
I thought I saw him earlier.
Okay, I'm gonna ask again with regard to 140519, and that person is not here. What are the issues? Just late? Is there a reason? Any reason given?
I thought I saw him here earlier.
So we have no reason, no other information. Time to pay at some point. I will ask again for.
It does, the deal says they have to be here.
Do we have any additional information for number 4800? Any special circumstances?
There is no sort of special circumstance that overrides, they all get shut off because nobody's here.
I will ask again for 51217, any special circumstances there?
they have to be here. If they're not here, then we shut the water off. That's how it's been.
Well, so the last one is what, number 400 or maybe 400? Special circumstances there.
They're not here either.
Not here.
The one I thought I saw, I guess, left or something.
Okay, we're shutting them off. Okay. Moving on, maintenance report. I know the guys are ready. Mr. Hickman, are you ready to give us the good news?
Mainly, we've been working on the pool since we got our sand filters and pump in. That's the main thing
Come up a
we've been
little
working
closer.
on.
I'm old. Come up a little closer. Thank you.
Mainly, we've been working on the swimming pool, trying to get the sand filters and all the new plumbing in and pump up at the pool. We had a problem with our well number 5. It pumped for a little bit and the meter locked up, so I got a call into EFI, Engineer Fluid, that's who built our building, and see what we can get for a new water meter. I don't know whether part of it's gonna be under warranty or not. It's been 4 years, so I don't know whether they'll warranty that meter or not, but we've got a text message to them, and they sent us some paperwork so we can send it back to them to see about what it's gonna take to get a new meter in that well house. So we're not pumping our new well at all now, we're pumping just the well at the park until we can get a new meter put back in it. Rough estimate, if we gotta buy a meter, is somewhere around $3,000 for that meter. So that's a heads up on a meter if we gotta buy a new meter. Hopefully, he'll tell me that we can put some parts in there and have that one still working. But we're looking at somewhere around $3,000 for a new meter for that well house. That's about all I got. You got the bids for Ray Roofing. That was the other bid on the roofing that we got. And that's a total tear off and total redo. They didn't even give me a bid to even try to patch it or repair it. And the other one last month was $53,000. So and that's all I have for maintenance.
Questions for Mr. Higgins?
What's the other pool conditions like? Are we gonna have to do a lot of painting or?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to paint it. We've got the paint already at the shop all ready to go. It's just gotta warm up enough that we can paint that rubberized paint. 60-degree weather ain't quite warm enough.
How long does that need to cure?
Well, it should cure for at least 24 hours before any
That's
water.
That's it?
You could.
Do you remember what the bid was on the people that did the Cunningham pool? It was wild, it was like 25,000.
At least.
Gator was, for
Yeah,
that.
I was thinking that could be at least 25,000, I think. But that was putting a new liner and all that stuff.
With a 1-year warranty.
Yeah, that really surprised me, was it one year?
Wow.
1-year warranty.
We had an issue in the last month or so about
Did you text me?
examining more of the sewer line that was not done previously, that we appropriated $13,000 more. Has that been taken care of?
No, it's in the works, it should be within the next month. I believe is when they said they'd be able to get back out to do it.
Okay. Any more questions from Mr. Higdon?
No, I want to see about the dumpster.
Oh, yeah, dumpster.
Usually comes back on
Usually we bring the dumpster back, time change, bring it back for a month.
What about the tire deal?
And we were gonna get the tire dumpster brought.
And the chemical trailer.
Well, chemical trailer I haven't called and lined up yet.
That's usually in the fall when we bring it in.
We never brought it last fall, did we?
No, we
Every
usually
couple
wait
of years.
2 to 3 years before we bring it back.
I was just wondering, there was a person asking about the chemical deal the other day.
Does it cost to bring it in? It doesn't, does it?
No, it don't cost anything to bring it.
I think we should find out about it, since it doesn't cost, find out about, and get the tire deal and trash dumpsters back. Start with a month on the trash dumpsters and then see if we need to extend it from there.
You know, we will.
Yeah.
Also,
Tell me again about the price of that water meter.
About $3,000 for that water.
$1,000 for a 3-inch water meter. Pricey little rascal, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I told her to replace a 8-inch water meter on an irrigation line. Those are only about less than 1,000.
Yeah, but the one for irrigation is not for drinking water though.
Yeah.
You gotta have one that's made for.
We're just
drinking
measuring
water.
volume either way.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's gotta be certified for drinking water.
Okay.
It's just like that little bitty valve that I bought for chlorine for the well over there at well 5 was $200 for just a little bitty check valve. But it's gotta do with chlorine, so.
thank you.
Is our other well able to keep up with that for now, or?
Yeah, it pumps 400, almost 400 gallon a minute. It'll keep up. We got more water usage on well 4 than we do well 5.
It pumps it faster.
Okay.
We got more water rights is what I wanna say. So
Yeah.
it's not gonna hurt us pumping that well while we're working on this meter.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Mr. Birdsong, you have anything to add?
No, they're good.
Okay. Let's see. We had maintenance, we had our office audience comments.
Yes, we know the pool's starting, and my son does 3D, and he'd like to donate 10, whichever size you guys choose, plus whistles for the pool, because last year, obviously, we didn't get any. We tested them, you can drown them, they won't drown, but they float. If they're full of water, they'll still blow, and I don't suggest blowing them in here. They're very loud.
Will you go outside and demonstrate?
Oh, you could soon say you want them. They're really loud, trust me.
Here, go in here and I'll go do it. I don't care.
Yeah. But he's willing to donate 10 of them. That way, I believe there's like eight lifeguards and 2 managers and stuff.
Okay.
And he also put the logo of Turon Pool, that way,
Not logo, the name.
yeah, that way if they quit, then,
So we have a logo?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Put up a little.
Trust me, we try to find a fault with them, we can't. Even with water, they're good.
Yeah, they float.
So I guess he just wants to say, yeah, go ahead, and he'll do it free, and I'll get with Kelly and make sure. And I believe it's,
Though, I don't know that we'd want to keep them year after year. I think they would go to the lifeguard, so I don't know if you'd have to put.
it's whatever, I mean.
Because I'm not gonna blow off on a whistle.
Well, yeah.
Right, right. Here, get them.
Well, I mean, this is kind of like this year, and if you guys
Right,
like
I'm
them and
just
stuff,
saying.
I'll print more next year.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And I believe the pool colors are red and white.
Well, that's lifeguard colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys are good with that, he'll start printing them.
Thank you. Anything else?
I almost don't know that we shouldn't buy a handful of extras, pay him to make some, because we were supposed to get some last year and we didn't.
Yeah.
But if we bought,
If he waited, if we could put their names on a few of them.
Can you put names on them?
Mhm.
Okay.
if we bought some extras, we could have some at the shack in case something ever happened.
And I did show Kelly before the meeting, and she did like the bigger ones, so whichever ones you want.
I would think the bigger one.
Yeah.
What kind of price would it be if we wanted to buy?
Probably about $2 a whistle.
That's cheap.
Is that with a lanyard?
No, that's with the ring and the whistle.
I would like to hear how loud they are.
Well, here, give me one of them.
I'll send James out.
I'll go outside because you don't want me to do it in here.
Okay, just.
They're
maybe
about
like
100
Do the little
and-
one and then the big one?
I think they're.
Here.
This is the big one, I think.
There's a little one.
I think I would want the
They're
big
about
one.
130 dBi.
I'd
Yeah, Kelly
Yeah,
liked
the
the
big
ones are
one
pretty
regardless, because then they might be fumbling around.
Don't let size fool you. That's the big one. Do the little one. Yeah.
I like the sound of the small one better.
I just do, yeah, but the big one would be handier.
Now, I live pretty close to a swimming pool. Now, that sounds like something that would interrupt.
I mean, it won't
Yeah.
get attention quickly.
We're installing the train horn too.
That would interrupt my nap.
They're pretty loud.
Well, you have to go talk to the pool about the kids.
It gets somebody's attention, that's for sure.
Any further discussion on that?
Do we wanna go ahead with this and maybe order what? Half a dozen extra or what?
What we usually have for employees, like 8.
You're saying 4 and then 2 be 6, so.
I thought we had 8
And those
lifeguards.
protocols, that's mine.
Here.
last year and then one quit and they did just fine. And I don't know if that included the assistant.
I don't think so.
I guess you're
So
gonna
if
have
we
to
just
change
ordered
your
them to
nap
make
time.
20 of them, that'd cover it, right?
Pick out a
That
number
would be
sometime.
plenty,
Somebody
yeah.
say something.
Be like $40, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm giving the first 10 for free.
Oh, okay.
Because I think last year I said, or no,
Even if,
early.
what if we paid you for them and had you put the names on them?
That's fine.
I
It
mean,
just
we
take.
can pay, $40 ain't nothing. We can-
I know the lifeguards didn't have whistles last year, and I
It's
know you
easier
guys
to
tried to
keep
get some, and
attention.
I actually printed one out of curiosity, and I was like, wow, that actually works pretty good. So, and I like them because they're light.
We would just need a list of the girls' names or boys.
We'll do like 20 and then you can carry all your extras that don't have names over until next year that never get used.
Do we have a motion?
We'll have to have a motion.
I don't think there's a motion needed, just,
Well, if we wanted to buy some extras, like we.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I make a motion, we have James Richter make 20 whistles for the city and we'll pay him for them.
And then we will have to give him the list of names of the guards for this year,
Yeah,
so we can put the names on it.
yeah.
Okay. When I get that list, I'll get them printed. Take about a day and a half.
The 20s that you're ordering, you don't want names on them, do you?
Yeah.
Because those will be extras.
Well,
Won't
we
they?
need,
No, we just put the name
Oh,
on.
okay. Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there consensus on this?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And as you heard, that's why he went out there, they're loud.
20 whistles.
thanks, James.
Uh-huh. And I have an audience comment. I haven't got my water bill yet at all. And I guess Max here hadn't got his either.
I'm not sure yet, but today was bill pay day. We can't find it.
We've been having trouble with some of the water bills getting caught in the machines down in Lyons. where they've been torn in half. So it might
At
just
the post
be,
office.
yeah. So it might just be that when the bills are going out, that they're just getting caught in machines. If you give me your phone numbers, I can call you and then tell you what the bill.
I'll just come down here tomorrow. I mean, I just kind of,
Yeah, that's what
I seen the water bill hearings and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot I haven't got a water bill yet, so I haven't been down here to pay it. It just sits on my desk and I mark it off as they're paid.
I'll help you guys tomorrow with them.
Okay.
Or just come in and find out, write a check. No big deal.
But we sent them out on the 1st, so like they should have arrived to everybody.
Okay.
Well, I still might find mine anyway. But I have an audience comment.
Yeah.
Things I've noticed tonight. One thing was really kind of pertains to the mayor. If I remember right, didn't we have a podium and speakers
There
and
are.
microphones?
Yeah.
Maybe if we had those in here, it would help everyone hear.
We can try it.
Just, I think we have them, so just saying. And another thing I noticed, Gayla brought up a point about the problems with fires in her town. And I thought, this is a little unorthodox, but what if you had a burn day where of course, the fire department would be on standby or know that it's that day, and if anyone has like a brush pile or whatever, or a house they want to burn, just a burn day. Just a thought, so those people who maybe don't want to tear down a house.
You can't legally burn a house anymore in Reno County. They passed new laws in Reno County.
They did?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know the house has to be, at least used to
You
have to be
can't-
stripped down really bad.
Yeah, and you can't even burning siding and stuff now in Reno County.
Well, that's
Not sure that law is ever gonna stand up because it's getting challenged right now by a guy that got a fine for burning some stuff, but
Can you go and apply for a permit?
you apply for a permit, but there is no permit to cover burning a house and stuff.
So we're
Or
still stuck on
asbestos
spending
and
all
things
this
like
money
that.
on tearing down and all of that, the
By the
legal
time
and all
you-
of this stuff.
By the time you get the insulation, the wire out, and everything they require.
Shingles.
Haven had a guy, and I know the guy, that has backhoes and stuff, and he was knocking in houses and burning houses for Haven for like $1,500 a house. No more.
Yeah. Well, that's still high, because we all got our appraisals, and an empty lot is worth a lot, saying it's like, what, 5-6 lots there. $880. Yep. $880, so if you start adding all of this other stuff to it, nobody's gonna buy an empty lot. There's no way. Unless you're from California. You know.
From Colorado.
Yeah.
Or Michigan.
That was just a comment I thought, boy, a burn day would be great.
The horrible idea about that is you get 20 people burning and 2 get out of control and you're screwed.
Well, I mean, the details have to be worked out. Maybe get on a list, I will burn at 11, I will burn at 12, or whatever. If it's a house.
I'm gonna go later home.
I think your point is
Okay.
interesting about the ownership of property. You can't get somebody to buy that lot. I think that's why you see some small towns offer to give away land for the purpose of building a house on it. Because they'd rather have a house there that's taxable
Sylvia does that.
than a lot sitting empty.
But I'm not gonna buy a thing that I have to spend a couple
So the city-
$1,000 and tear down.
What I'm saying is the city may have to take a haircut on owning that lot, and the taxes that are collectible, and the maintenance that's collectible, we may have to take that haircut on that in
Yeah,
order
if
to
you can get some people
to get someone to build on that.
Yeah.
Because building something is preferable to not building something.
Yeah.
Sylvia
If it
gives,
worked, that would be great, then it would be worthwhile to me thinking that, yeah, to spend the money to tear them down. Maybe the landowner would say, hey, if you tear it down, we don't care, we'll give you the lot, or whatever.
Sylvia
gotta have
gives
somebody build.
the lot away, and you have to sign an agreement that you cannot get rid of it for 4 years. And that agreement makes you pay the taxes on it for 4 years, and they hope that somebody paying taxes, them taxes come back to the city.
And it has to be built on within that 4 years.
They had to get rid of that because that was not a legal ordinance.
Really?
Yep. See, the big thing is some of that stuff's getting ruled in Supreme Courts and stuff, and once it's ruled in Supreme Court, a little town like this can pass any law they want, and it's not legal. You don't have to follow it. Because it's already been determined unright in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And once it doesn't matter what state it's determined in, if it has been determined unright in the Supreme Court, it has no standing.
So we're pretty much screwed in that respect. I mean, we could probably still have a burn of, say if you had, a dead tree in your yard and piled it up.
You can call in a controlled burn,
Yeah,
right?
you can do a controlled
I
burn.
mean, I'm just saying, that would be a start of something.
You just have to call the fire department and let them know you're doing a controlled burn.
No, you don't call the
No,
fire
you don't
department.
have to
Call the
call
county.
them.
Call the county.
Call the county, you
Which is
have to
the-
go on the county
Reno
website.
County? Oh, they changed
You know
it.
all about this. You have to go on the county website and fill out the paperwork
Burn permit.
to get a burn permit. Then you have to have that number. To use a burn permit, you cannot use it within 3 days of a high wind day. It is
If they have a
bad.
big metal container in my back.
That metal container may not be legal anymore.
Well, wouldn't that be a burn barrel?
They tightened up the laws on burn barrels and stuff.
Because I've got a fire pit in my backyard and I just pick up all my limbs and stuff and throw it in there and burn.
Don't tell them.
That's my fire pit though. That's legal.
It's all these dang
They're
fires.
trying to say that they're not now.
For marshmallows.
No, it's a
In
fire
Reno
pit.
County.
Well,
But you're supposed to burn your fire pit. If it doesn't meet the requirements, you still have to fill out a burn permit and call it in.
well, it's a fire pit. I mean, it's obvious a fire pit.
You can come check it out.
No. Hutch Fire puts out fires every day at fire pits and stuff. Oh, absolutely.
In lieu of having a burn day, would it be possible to have a front end loader or something come in and load limbs that are in somebody's tree pile and help people haul them to the
Cleanup
burn
days.
pile?
We
I
used
would
to have
like-
cleanup
I
days.
would like to have a cleanup day and have as many people volunteer to help. I mean, because I think there are some people that would kind of do things around the place if they had some help, If we could get some volunteers, say, hey, we're gonna do it this day, call the city, put your name on the list, we'll see how many people we can get there, and yeah, use the
like
city equipment to haul that off.
Stafford, I think, does cleanup week, all
Right, and they put everything to the curb.
yard materials, leaves, tree limbs, go to the curb and the city
And
picks it up and
appliances,
hauls it
I
off.
think they haul appliances off there too.
Nicely will do that.
Pardon me?
Nicely will pick up
Oh, yeah,
appliances.
yeah,
If you let them know, I think it used to be the third Wednesday of the month.
I see.
And you just call them and tell them. They may have changed that date, but it used to be the third Wednesday. You can put any appliance you want out there.
Well, I would like to see a citywide cleanup day and then see.
Well, we've done them
if we can
before
get
and they
some
were quite
volunteers
popular.
to help. Pardon me?
We've done them before and they were quite popular.
Right. Is it possible to get people to take it out to the curb and make a pile and then the
If there's a
city
big pile, that's a
Yeah.
lot though.
use your.
Yeah, but with the tractor or skid steer or
If somebody
something.
didn't come
Yeah.
in with a skid steer that would assist, that's my point.
Don't we have a
That
tractor?
would assist getting that stuff
Yeah.
either to the curb
Yeah.
or getting it on a truck to go to the burn pile.
And then use don't we have a dump bed too?
Yep.
Can't we have the city guys haul that off? Or is that possible?
The city might have to subsidize the guy with the front end loader or something. Keep him in town.
Well, for the most part, a lot of it could be done with the city tractor or the.
I'm trying to avoid adding extra burdens to these gentlemen, but
I know, but And, well, we could do it with the city tractor and backhoe and pay them overtime if we did it on a Saturday or something, schedule it with them to do it on a Saturday or something and pay them the overtime or a bonus for working that day. And also get other people to volunteer to bring skid steer or loader or whatever to help.
Well, I'd like to see it done, the spring early spring would be a great time to do it, so.
President's a great person to be in charge of it.
Okay, we'll see what I can get done.
Will you come up with a plan for us?
I will try to come up with a plan for it, yes, I will.
I'm writing this down.
Okay, go ahead. Don't want to forget.
Think big, think big.
And you're gonna be donating tractors and loaders?
We can talk.
Okay.
I don't know that my tractors are,
Maybe a
I
lot
prefer to
big.
have a front end loader, a skid steer
Yeah.
with a grapple and all that, that would be helpful.
Okay, all right, we'll try to figure something out.
Plain old front end loader is particularly helpful, we can talk.
Okay,
Come up with a plan.
all right, we'll try to do that.
I am kind of finished with the audience comments, I think, and so we're going to go down to the pool manager, which is finished, and safety officer is not here. And we have custodial reports. Did anybody that knows the custodian well?
No, he said he's good to go, I guess.
All right, very good. Unfinished business, we're still talking about maintenance on the roof bids, and that was a scary thing that was presented to us for the roofing. Doors and windows, what's going on with doors and windows? Who knows about that?
I think we need to find out on that Reno County deal.
Yeah.
Table it again, still?
We're gonna find out about that rural Reno County deal.
So the community foundation,
Yeah.
try that, okay. And Jimmy
I
Ribbon,
think those-
you got your question answered there? Yes, yes, okay.
I think there's another, we might have Michaela look or something. I think there's another, Reno County Foundation or something else that gives out money to help with, tearing down houses and stuff.
Jimmy said.
Edie knows about it.
Was it?
I'm familiar with the Hutchinson Community Foundation. That's the only one.
Well, I can't remember what it's called, but there is one that helps tear down houses.
Tear down houses.
Yep.
I don't know if that's, would that be SCED? I can ask.
Yeah, maybe you're wrong with them.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We have unfinished business, so I'm thinking I'm done with that.
No,
So we have new business? No, we're not. Go.
unfinished business, we had added the lagoon, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
I thought you talked about that.
not yet, no.
Okay.
With this paper that we got for when somebody had turned us in, at the last part of it, it was talking about that we might need to be getting the lagoons cleaned out. And we were gonna get a bid, and I've never heard anything on any of that. So I was just wondering what we needed to do to get a bid.
We had a couple of bids before.
For cleaning it out and putting it on, because as soon as the week's off, if you were to do it that way,
Well, you guys come up with money to do it first,
well, I thought you were gonna get a bid for it, is that what I
Well,
was?
we've had a couple bids already.
Well, you said that when the feedlot was gonna have somebody and you were gonna check that out, so.
I don't know about that,
But we're going up in March. I'll see if I can get a hold of the guy up there at the conference to come out and give us a bid on what it would take to pump it out.
Okay, well, there's a guy around, I think I could get you a number of somebody that does do that. If you'd want a number.
Okay?
So do they just need pumped out, or do they need like sludge or whatever dug out of it also?
Well, if you can, the best way to get rid of the sludge is to pump it out and be able to spread it out over the field right around
I see,
the
okay.
lagoon.
All right.
If not, the only other way to dredge them out is you gotta drain your pond, let it dry so much before they can get in there and dig it out. And the safest way is to take only like 16 inches of it out so that you don't disturb the bottom of the lagoon or you've ruined your lagoon. So the safest and way is to be pumping it out.
Okay. Thank you.
It takes a long time to dry to get equipment.
Yeah,
in
so
there.
you would only get the number 1 pond done this year, number 2 pond done next year, number 3 pond done the next year.
It almost
You
takes-
can't do, you
Yeah,
could.
it takes a long time to dry those out so you can get the equipment in there without falling in.
Yeah.
Have we taken care of that?
I guess so.
Okay. I think, I'm awfully close to being done.
I have one thing. About
Speak up,
Lincoln,
I'm old.
I was just gonna ask Gabe what time you got here, cause I don't think we wrote down the right time. So you're left to like 7:40.
7:45.
So I feel like it was 7:40, but I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, about 7:52 or something.
Okay.
Cause I'm just given 10 minutes after our executive session at Sylvia. And I left from the executive session and came here.
That's all I had.
I was a little overwhelmed by that bid from Ray Roofing though on that city building out. That's wow.
Well, for that kind of money, we need to look into see what what it would cost to build a metal shop. I do want to add one thing to new business, if we can. We need to get new city IDs. Because how many of you guys have city IDs? Do you have one? You have one. And
You can have it from when we did them to begin with.
you don't have one. Michaela didn't have one.
He's a disaster. Yeah.
IDs?
What?
City IDs
IDs.
for the city?
I think it's, so if it, right for the if there's a disaster, you're.
If there's ever a disaster, fire, tornadoes, if they shut it, the city limits down.
So that I can.
Come in and out?
Yeah.
We do want clarification on, what is it, ACP? We're getting a report on the 13th. Are they the treasurer's report?
The
or what is-
accountant's coming here on the 13th.
So she's coming,
Mm-hmm.
she hasn't done anything at all.
Not that I'm aware of, we just sent her some stuff, and then I got the bank
Cause I've got one
statements,
for the fire too.
and grabbed the bank statements, and they're in the safe for her.
So she'll be on Wednesday, and she'll start doing it.
Happened, right, improve.
So she doesn't show up on Wednesday,
I've
she's
never
always
had
special
anybody
meeting.
ask for that for fire, but it's good.
Did we wish to take any action regarding a treasurer? Is there anyone we wish to?
She doesn't show up on Wednesday, we have a special meeting.
Any action you want to pursue?
Well, I,
We do have,
no, we got an application.
Yeah,
So if she doesn't show up the 13th, then we'll have to have a special meeting.
Okay.
And we'll probably add several things. What else did we talk about that? Well, I guess that was it.
And we did have a lady bring in a completed treasurer's application.
Yes.
so we'll hold on to that and then,
Have it out here. We shouldn't have it out here.
okay, what are we doing? I've lost control.
I think we're ready to maybe adjourn.
What are we doing about the treasurer?
We're waiting to see if the other lady that we've talked about, if she comes in on the 13th, and if she's going to, I guess, apply.
see if she should have, she
Oh.
said she's been here.
Yeah, to see if maybe she will even show up, I guess.
If she doesn't show up, then you need to let us know so we can have a special meeting.
Okay.
Well, if she shows up, do we need to talk to her and see how long she thinks it would take to get a treasurer's report, or she'd get time to do it? Or is she
Well,
crashed?
we need to know if she is going to do the treasurer's report for us, if that's a job she wants, or if she's just gonna catch us up, or where we stand with her.
Yeah.
Then,
So how are we gonna do that? I mean, she's gonna come in Wednesday, and then we're gonna see what she says, and then we're gonna have a special meeting just to meet with her.
She's coming the 13th.
I bet she ain't gonna come out and meet us. We're gonna have to do it while she's here if you're having a special meeting, you wanna hear from her.
That you don't know, she will be here during business hours.
Huh?
On the 13th, you're talking
Yeah.
about? But she'll be here between 7 and 3. I don't think probably everybody can be here.
It's never been everybody, but it
Well,
only takes
yeah, but
three people, but
but-
we've had to do that before during business hours.
There will be 3 people around.
Is she coming to take a look at them and bill us for while she's here type deal? Like, what's her plan on coming here?
I believe she's supposed to help us get caught up and then hopefully do a treasurer's report. But the main thing is just getting caught up on the books.
So we is she supposed to come on? She hasn't been on. I'll be at work, so I already know that.
I'll be at work too.
She's gonna be so drowning in
Yeah,
everything,
work on everything.
Andy will be here after 6.
I'm assuming I can be available, but not certain about that, but I'm
I
probably
guess
here.
I guess if Ken would be available, he could kind of give us an idea on where she stood.
Yeah. What questions are you gonna ask me on the 14th that I can find answers to on the 13th?
The common sense ones.
I'm sorry?
Common sense ones. Just, is she interested in being our treasurer,
Okay.
long term? Or is she only catching us up?
Okay, and compensation such as for whatever she's doing up to this point and ongoing in the future, what she thinks she needs.
If she will be our treasurer or not. That way we would know if we need to get a special meeting.
What's on fire?
I don't know, where's the book?
That might be me.
All right, are we finished?
Under governance body comments, I think that we need to make action on that next tech deal pretty quick, because if not, I guarantee you the elevator now probably would.
Well, Danny's looking at the.
I would say as long as Danny looks it over
Yeah.
and we make a deal next month, would probably be
And
good.
that would go a lot of ways towards pickup or a tractor or.
It's almost, $7,200 a year. $7,200 a year almost pays the lagoon payment on taking a loan to clean the lagoons.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot better than a cell phone tower I know about.
Are we ready to adjourn?
I am.
I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
And leave another crowd around. Well, that's like- I got one crab glass and one.
No, you got 2 crab rolls. Almost sold out of good crab. I got good crab there.